If you're struggling to pay down debt and don't know where to start, you are in luck, because in this video, we're going to dive deep into all of the strategies that you have available to you, some of which may or may not be scams. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I'll be going from worst strategy to best strategy using some live examples in a debt calculator I created just for you, completely free. So you can get a version of that in the description of this video. So let's just jump right into the first strategy, which is not having a strategy at all. I know you're probably sitting there like,
wait, what the heck?
So let's explain with a real example why having no strategy is no good. In order to do that, let's open up the debt calculator. And as you can see, I've just entered some fictitious information in here for debts totaling $40,000. This calculator is pretty awesome because not only does it track your debt here, it will show you how much interest you would have paid. So we scroll down a little bit here. And most importantly, it's going to show us our debt-free date, which is really exciting. It gives you a little transparency into how long it's going to take you. So if we dive a little deeper now into the strategy section, you can see this drop-down menu here. And for the purposes of this exercise, let's choose no snowball. No snowball basically means no strategy, because what this file is doing is assuming that you're only going to be making your minimum payments, in this case, $195 and no more. As you can see, this strategy completely broke the template because this template only goes up to 30 years. And if you're actually serious about paying down your debt, 30 or more years, whatever it is, to pay off $40,000 is not acceptable. Now that we got that one out of the way, my name is Chris and I've been an accountant for over 10 plus years, and I've also had my own debt challenges paying off $43,000 in just under a year. So I'm here to tell you that your financial goals are way closer than you think. Trust me, I've lived it. I've seen it. It's also not going to be the last time we see the debt calculator, but right now it's time to buckle up because we're about to hit the scammy portion of the video. Look at this. This is my personal email inbox, and I just typed in the phrase balance transfer. And look at all these attempts by the credit card companies to try and sell me on this strategy. Balance transfers involve moving existing credit card debt from one card to another, typically with a lower interest rate during a promotional period. They make it pretty convincing too. Pay off balances faster, save money on interest. Oh, streamline my finances? That sounds fancy. The reason why I don't really like it is because it's just a short-term fix and it won't matter unless you actually change your behavior. For example, let's say your credit card interest rate is 18% and then all of a sudden you get this email out of nowhere. It's like, hey, look at me. You could have a 0% interest rate for 12 months. However, 0% interest rate isn't really 0% because, hey, we're just gonna take a 4% fee. And then once the promotional period is over, the interest rate will go back up to your 18%. And in some cases, it goes up to a greater percentage. And to be clear, I'm not anti-credit card. I use credit cards myself. There's just a time and a place for it. And like most things in life, it's just not for everyone. Balance transfers, in my opinion, prey on people's behavior or desperation to pay off debt even faster. But without changing your behavior, none of this matters and you're going to go back to your cycle that you were in before. The next strategy is similar but different enough where it's not as scammy, and that strategy is known as debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is where you take all your different debts with all your different interest rates and they get lumped together and become one loan with one interest rate. The reason why I like debt consolidation over balance transfer is because debt consolidation isn't just some promotional period or lightning offer. It typically has a lot more transparency and the interest rate isn't going to fluctuate. But here's why I'm not that big of a fan of it. Solving your debt problem by taking on more debt isn't really a good idea. And sure, you're not necessarily taking on more debt, you're just shifting it over. But the only time it might be reasonable is if you have an average interest rate of say 20% and you're somehow able to get a consolidated rate of 10, 12, 15%. That might be worth it in the long run, but otherwise I would be focusing more on the next two strategies available to you because they are much more legitimate. Which brings us back to the debt calculator. The final two strategies I'm going to talk about at the same time because I think both are really, really good. There's just a slight difference between them. The first is called the debt snowball method. Now let's go back into the calculator. We have the same numbers that we had earlier when we were using our no strategy example. So it's the same data. And what you can see down here is once I change this to snowball, the data is going to change based on the amount of the loan remaining, which is the debt snowball. So you're going to be paying off your loans from the smallest loan all the way to the largest loan. That's the order that you're going to be paying them down. We entered this data up here. It recategorized it based on this snowball. So the 3,000, 4,000, 8,000, 25,000, that's the order that the snowball method, you should be paying this off. I've also assumed that for our monthly payments, we will be paying $250 a month when the minimum payment is $195. That's not very aggressive, but I just kind of wanted to start here so we can look at this strategy and then also the debt avalanche method. So as you can see here, we have avalanche, and some of this data is going to change. So let's take a look there. Because the debt avalanche method, you're going to be paying down your highest interest rate first, all the way down to your lowest interest rate. So as you can see, it recategorized based on the interest rates. And actually, it was set up here as highest to lowest. So it's the same down here. So with the debt snowball method, and we're going to dive into the numbers here to back this up. The debt snowball method is basically created to give you sort of a mental boost. You'll be paying down your debt slightly faster. The debt avalanche method is going to be the most cost efficient for you, most likely, because interest is such a killer. So once you get rid of the highest interest rates, it's going to be a little cheaper in the long run. So let's compare the two here. How much interest are we going to be paying in the snowball and avalanche method, and when is our debt-free date between the two? So let's stick with the debt avalanche method. Our interest paid is going to be $16,000, and our debt-free date is estimated February of 2043. Again, that's a really long time. We're going to play with these numbers to show you how you can, even a small tweak to your monthly amount can make such a big difference. But right now, let's just compare the two strategies. So we'll go to snowball. So let's remember avalanche 16,000 and February 2043. So the snowball 17,000 and June of 2043. So a few months after for the snowball, but over $1,000 more in interest that you'll be paying in the snowball method over the avalanche method. So I mentioned here the $250 is not very aggressive when your minimum payments are $195. So what would happen if we change this to, could you add $200 more a month to your debt? Let's see what happens here. The debt snowball method is showing $17,200. When we click into this, wow, just under $7,000 for an extra $200 a month. So remember, it was $17,200. Now it's $6,800, and you're paying off your debt 10 years earlier, which is wild. So the first credit card here will be paying off in 12 months. And if we go to the avalanche method, let's see how this changes as well. Pretty similar, a couple $100 less in interest, month or two earlier in paying off your debt. Really, with this example, with the $450, there isn't too much difference between the snowball method and the avalanche method. The first debt you'll be paying off with the avalanche method is in 15 months, so a year and 3 months. The snowball is 12 months, 24. So it happens a little faster with the snowball method for the first one for sure. But I love running through this exercise because going from $250 a month to $450 a month saves you like $10,000, $11,000 in interest. So that's why it's so important to, once you realize that, hey, I need to pay down some debt, I need to figure this out. How aggressive can you be? Because the more aggressive you can be, the faster you will be able to get out of your debt, and it's going to be exponential. $200 a month, it's a lot of money, right? But how can we cut down our expenses to put it towards debt and save 10 years of our life to become debt-free, save $10,000 over the lifespan of your debt? It's very significant. So hopefully your takeaways from this video are: 1, you need to have a strategy. 2, using a helpful tool like the debt calculator Take You There is a great idea. And number 3, if you're actually serious about getting rid of your debt and paying it off as soon as possible, you may need to make some lifestyle changes. And if you think you need even more help, I'm offering one-on-one coaching for people that need more assistance with their personal finances. So things like budgeting, paying down your debt, or maybe just some accountability. So there's a link for a free call down in the description. What do you have to lose? The game plan for these strategy calls will be 4 simple steps to take you from confusion to confidence with your personal finances. And if you want more context on what these 4 simple steps are, make sure to check out this video here.